Good afternoon, Hotline.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Councilman Bob, how are you?
Not too bad. It's pretty rainy out here today.
Yep, it sure is.
Came across this. I was looking up the Working Families Party, and I know Dede's been endorsed by them in the past, and now the thing on Newzjunky about the tie-in to ACORN. Know who's the co-chair of ACORN?
No, who is it?
Bertha Lewis.
And who's that?
She heads ACORN.
Oh, she heads ACORN. She's the co-chair of the Working Families Party?
Yep. As of the latest I could find, as of April of this year, but going...
Oops. Yeah, I guess that's... yeah, she was on TV the other day. She's one of the big deniers for ACORN. Yeah, that's going to be that's a tough one to explain away, except... and this is maybe... guys like you and I may be old thinkers on a lot of this. Aren't there a lot of... Doesn't a majority of the people favor things like... Maybe not the abuses at ACORN, but favor that whole idea of a increasing role of government and all of that stuff?
I hope not, because I think a lot of the financial problems we're in today are tied to the fact that these organizations pressured politicians to give mortgages to people that had no income or could not afford to pay the mortgages, and then they whipped up Fannie and Freddie, and
right.
And I think that's the nexus of a lot of the big problems we have today. Is the real estate market still hasn't unwound.
Oh, my goodness. Fred Thompson has endorsed Doug Hoffman. There's a face from the past. Maybe he'll come up here.
Yeah. That this ACORN, or Working Families Party, was organized in 1988 by labor union, ACORN, and community organizations. So the union is right in this, and, of course, that ties in with Dede's husband, who is... what's his name? McDougal? I guess she doesn't use his last name.
Ron McDougal.
Anyway,
he's a nice guy.
I wouldn't know. I never met him. But here's an interesting thing. You were talking about Liz Benjamin. Here's an interesting thing. If you look back on July 2nd this year, Liz Benjamin wrote something entitled "Democrats Fan the Flames of Scozzafava's Tax Troubles." That was the title of it. But basically, Scozzafava's husband, after they did not select her, they picked Barkley instead of her. Scozzafava's husband went to the Democratic Party. Say, what do you think about Dede becoming a Democrat? And I guess that kind of died out. But
well, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I mean...
Well, then she writes, and she quotes this because it comes from June O'Neill. She said her husband spoke with several Democratic officials, and people who were aligned with the Democratic Party, O'Neill said, there was some discussion about whether or not Dede might switch parties, but the whole tax thing, that's that $192,000,
right,
is problematic on a number of levels, and we didn't want to start out with any problems. So,
well, the issue of party labels, and I guess it is tough because you've got some people accusing her of being ACORN, and yet ACORN is the organization. It's a subsidiary of the Service Employees International Union, correct?
Well, they're affiliated.
Right, and yet SEIU is endorsing Owens, and most of the unions will endorse the Democrat because that's where their bread is buttered. And
I think what this all...
It's hard to figure out.
Well, what this... the fact kind of jumped to Democrats back in July, whenever, indicates to me that really she is much more liberal, and that this argument from the conservative side, who's the chairman of the...
Mike Long.
Mike Long.
Yeah.
That she is a liberal it gives it much more credibility in that the Democrats probably would have accepted her as a
well, that may be. I mean,
except for the tax money, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, as far as the Conservative Party, they've been, the Me Too party for the Republicans for so many years.
Too many, yeah.
Yeah, and this maybe they feel they're going to draw some line in the sand here. I don't know. I mean,
I think it's...
From what I hear about Mr. Hoffman, and I don't know a lot about him, but all the Republicans you talk to say he didn't really fare well when he was competing in that Republican process.
Well, I mean, if they picked an ultra-liberal Republican,
see that?
No wonder he didn't do well, you know?
It was really a split verdict when the Republicans decided to sort of designate someone.
Yeah.
I think there's 11 counties. I think the chairs, I was told, in 4 of the counties supported Ms. Scozzafava, but they were 4 populous counties, so they had enough weighted vote. There were others that supported other people. I think that Doheny guy had a significant amount of support. I don't know if Hoffman did or not.
Well, maybe at the time they thought Dede could win. And
I think she can win.
And the fact that her husband was shopping her to the Dems.
Well, that's neither here nor there. What you got to look at, and it's very salient to all of this, and it's not anybody's fault, but do you really want a member of Congress who's from a place 200 miles away?
I want somebody that reflects what I think and what I value. That's what I want.
Oh, okay.
And I don't care where he is. The technology today makes it so that distance isn't quite as...
Right. No, I know. It's less than it used to be.
One final thing. A piece in the paper yesterday. I mean, the Times, they're like NBC as far as a complete sellout, you know. That piece was a total... It was just defending Scozzafava. You know, it wasn't really informing anything. They were talking about the ads on TV.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I mean, what a total defense of Scozzafava. I mean, they ought to just come clean and say, hey, you know, this is where we are. Of course, they've already endorsed it.
Right. Well, I mean...
To put that as news, put it on the editorial page if you want to do it. Don't put it as news, you know?
Yeah. Well, the editorial will come later. What do you think of the balloon story? I like that.